Hello, you're watching episode 189 of Nugget's Dungeon Terrain, and this is the last in the sci-fi series. I'm actually making this terrain for a dungeon crawler, and the enemy are called Autons, but basically just think of Necrons. And of course, you could probably apply this to open scatter terrain for a Warhammer 40k game anyway. If nothing else, it's just an experiment with a whole bunch of junk that I had lying around that I was never going to use in a fantasy game. Let's see how it turned out. Other than the foam and the wires, everything that makes up this model is from an outdoor solar powered light. Then at a conference, everyone walked off and left the pens behind. I couldn't help but notice that the grips looked a little bit like some kind of futuristic battery. Because the material's not overly firm, I put a small piece of dowel rod inside of each one and then topped it off with some hot glue. Here's the solar panel from that same garden set. I'm going to use it as a raised platform. I was tempted to think of how I might be able to just use the panel, but I'm applying this plastic mesh over the top instead. This is the back bracket from that same piece of junk, and I'm going to add to it a filter from a garden hose. I added beads to all of the pieces of terrain and then started interconnecting them with bits of wire. I wanted it to look like, even if the technology belonged to someone else, that it was being taken over, something like the Borg in Star Trek. I used the fluoro green here on the end of this, and then I used it in all the fuel cells. As I painted across, I didn't mind if it was hitting the edges because it would create a little bit of source lighting. After I flooded the area with the fluoro, I then dabbed over it with this paper towel to take off the excess bits. and conveniently all of the different parts of scatter terrain for this sci-fi series fit in one tub, ready to go for the game.